I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who teacheth the Bible in 100% truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, especially the 144,000, who consist of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in the land of the Americas, as well as the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners living amongst other nations. Shalom to you. Okay, so tonight it's actually the 14th of March at the minute. So we're in the from the evening of the 13th of March, Thursday, to the evening of the 14th of March, which we're in between at the minute, Friday, sundown. We have the Passover, and we obviously it's a Sabbath day, and so on and so forth. Now, obviously, I went into this on the previous video. You've got this lunar eclipse. There's a lunar eclipse tonight, and the lunar eclipse is an opportunity for it to also become a blood moon. And so you're reading here on the screen, March 13th to 14th, 25. And this is from YouTube. Watch rare total lunar eclipse unfold live in breathtaking 4K. This celestial event, known as a blood moon, happens when Earth's shadow completely covers the moon, turning it a deep red hue. So this is what's happening tonight, and this is something we know according to the scriptures that took place. There was a lunar eclipse. So Yahweh Shai, you had the Passover, and the next day, obviously, Yahweh Shai was crucified. So, the night of the Passover was a full moon, as it is tonight. And then reports from, I think it's Pilate, or one of the other, well-known figures around that time. There's reports of the moon turning red, to the color of blood, in the night of the Passover. And obviously, the night before Yahweh Shai went on the cross. So, back then, roughly 2,000 years ago, obviously it was a significant event. And obviously, we know the story. I'm not going to go through it, but obviously Yahweh Shai, the night of the Passover, the following day, the sun was also, you had also a solar eclipse while Yahweh Shai was on the cross. So that, I think that was 3 hours. So you had these celestial events taking place, and it was obviously a significant event. Once Yahweh Shai gave up the spirit on the, when he was crucified, he obviously finally it got to the point where he gave up the spirit, and then, that the earth, there was an earthquake. I think the scriptures talk about the temple, the front of the temple ripped into two, where with the earth shaking, the ground moving, so on and so forth. So it was a major event. The obviously it's all happened according to prophecy, so it was supposed to happen that way. But however, it involved the Son of the Most High, being crucified, and that was the moment at which it happened. Obviously, at the moment at which it happened, then Yahweh Shai's blood is then been, our sins, if you like, are then, Yahweh Shai's blood accounts for it, and that's why we're able to have the chance of salvation or redemption in this time now. So these are obviously certain things that are, we all know this is based around Yahweh Shai being crucified, and so we're in that time now, where we're waiting for couple of major prophecies to take place. One of them being the introduction of the MOTB, Revelation 13:16 on down. And one of them is World War III. So, for example, Joel 2:31 says the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of Yahweh comes. So, last year, for example, we had the sun turn into darkness through the solar eclipse, 2024, April 2024, and then now, March, pretty much a year later, it says, I think it's 50 weeks later, actually, not quite 52. It says here the moon into blood, which is what's happening tonight, and it says before the great and terrible day of Yahweh. So we're warning you of this particular sign. This is Acts 2:20. It says the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and notable day of the Lord. So obviously this is referring to the times that we're in now. Some Christians, they believe that, obviously, because you've got this account of the moon turning to blood on the night of the Passover, just before Yahushua was crucified, and then obviously these Christians that don't know what they're talking about, they'll sometimes refer to that and say, oh well, the moon turned into blood before that great and notable day, and the great and notable day was the day Yahushua was crucified. Now that's not true. The great and notable day is the day of the Lord. Obviously, you can see it's backed up there in Joel 2:31. It's before the great and terrible day of Lord. All capitals is Yahweh. So it's in the great and terrible day of Yahweh. It's the day of the Lord. Obviously, Yahushua plays a part, but really, it's the Most High's judgment. It's the Most High's story. It's the Most High's prophecy, and the Most High is the one who gives Yahushua the signal when to bring that particular destruction. So, this blood moons, it's a major thing, and as we keep saying, we're really close to the fulfillment of these major prophecies. World War III, the MOTB. This is all going to be part of Jacob's trouble, a time that never been seen before, and we're heading in that direction fast. You see the things that Donald Trump's doing. We see the things that are happening on the worldwide scene, the digital infrastructure, the European community. They've just announced that by October they're going to have a digital infrastructure payment system up and running. So we're very close to these things actually taking place. This is why these warnings are going out. And so then, you couple this into, what's actually happening tonight. It's like a repeat of what happened, roughly 2,000 years ago with Yahushua, with the Passover, it being a full moon and being a blood moon, and so on and so forth. So you've got an image here, for example, total eclipse visible, and that's straight across America, Babylon the Great, as you can see there. And obviously other places, like myself, for example, I'm in the UK here, so the eclipse would only be partially visible. And then on the eclipse, obviously this is what happens. Obviously, when it falls into the shadow, the moon then becomes red. It has a red hue, which you could describe as a blood moon. So this happened obviously when Yahushua was crucified, leading up to the time of Yahushua being crucified. And you go back 2,000 years ago, you look at this Bible timeline, Old Testament, New Testament, laws, gospel, and then you have this situation here. You look at the blue section, for example, the Gospels, the birth of Christ, it says, which is the birth of Yahushua, baptism of Yahushua, 12 disciples of Yahushua who later became the apostles. And so obviously the whole idea of this is the Most High sending his son, because we're terrible when it comes to following the law. And then obviously, by giving the message to his disciples, to the apostles, you have believers. Some believed and some didn't, and then eventually Yahushua was put on, was crucified. So, and then you go into like Acts, for example, the book of Acts, um, Apostle Peter, Apostle Paul, which represents the Jews, the Gentiles, those in Jerusalem, many different types of Israelites pretty much debating as to whether Yahushua was actually that Messiah that they had waited for or not. Some believed, some didn't. And then Apostle Paul's job was to go to the Gentiles, spread out in surrounding areas, pretty much to again tell them the news of the fact that there's a new thing now. Then the new thing was having faith in Yahweh Shai, believing in him, as opposed to following the laws. And then we have a new aspect. You believe in Yahweh Shai, you can be redeemed. The Most High will give you that chance, save you from the judgment, which we're about to witness, that great and terrible day, as you can see at the end here, Judgment Day. And then you will be changed, and we'll be put into the kingdom of heaven. We'll be made righteous. We won't be able to commit sin, and we'll live happily ever after. So this is all quite important because, as I keep saying, the last couple of about 6 months or so, you've got Acts 2.0. You see what a lot of people don't realize. Even people that for example, like you got these people that supposedly teach the truth, go into the scriptures. They're not really supposed to be doing it. They're not ordained, or they're not what's the word, anointed. They don't have the unction to actually go into the scriptures, but they try to break it down, but then they have no concept, of they maybe understand reincarnation is biblical concept, but they forget to apply it when they're dealing with certain aspects. And so when you're dealing with aspects in the world today, all the things that are going on, amongst all the madness, amongst all the things that are happening, taking us towards the direction of prophecy, amongst all the wickedness that's taking place, people are just living against the Most High and committing all sorts of wicked acts around the world. Amongst all that, you have a group of people, and the group of people are pretty much repeating what the events that they went through 2,000 years ago, because as the scriptures tell you, there's nothing new under the sun. So, in this time here, you had the Gospels, you had Acts. Acts was the time of, building the church. That's what Apostle Peter was pretty much doing, head of the church in absence of Yahweh Shai. So this is a new thing. After the blue section, now you've got a new thing here. It's all about believing in Yahweh Shai, having faith, and then remembering that, in that time of judgment, if you believe on him, he will come back for you, providing you're an Israelite and you have that faith. And that's why really, the scriptures, there's not many scriptures after that, because what else is there to tell? You've got the building up of the church, throughout this time, even the book of Revelation, this is talking to believers that were alive at that particular time. And here we are 2,000 years later, the Holy Spirit's put upon us, and all this is brought back to our remembrance. And so we look around and we recognize the things that are happening now are things that we just went through 2,000 years ago. So, you've got the church that's been built up. I've explained this before. You've got the church that would have been built up. Jerusalem. Okay, so we're not in the Holy Land at the minute. We're in the uttermost parts of the earth. That's where our people have been sent, according to the prophecy, according to the transatlantic slave trade. So you'd find us in America, the uttermost parts of the earth, all the way out there. So then you'd like to say, well, that would be the new center of where the Israelites are. That's why we tell you that, the Negroes, the Latinos, and Native Americans are the real children of Israel. But then you have this, scattered Israelites around the world living amongst the other nations who look like the other nations, whose seed still go back to the Israelites. If you like, even though we all came into this as Gentiles in this modern day since the time of Elijah or Abba Bivens, even though we're all Gentiles, you could kind of like say, well, the ones in Babylon, the Great America, are set up like the Jews, and the ones around the world are set up like Gentiles, where they have to, they discover this truth. They see it coming from America. They're like, what's this? Oh, was this my true nationality? But it's all based over there, so you can try and do your thing in a different land amongst different people. But it's kind of set up in that same way. So you have the true apostles, the 12 apostles out there. Maybe not all at the minute. Apostle Paul would be out there, and there'll be 500 brethren spoken of in the book of Acts, who were with Apostle Peter, Apostle James, and spreading this word. And we keep saying that we're at the end of this point. The warnings that we're giving you are coming to an end, because the judgment's about to come. And how do we know that? Because the things that we went through 2,000 years ago, where if your eyes are open, if the Most High opens your eyes and allows you to see certain things, and then you'll realize we're just repeating those events today, but at the same time we're at the very end point of it. We've just had the introduction of Nero 2.0. When you look at the book of Acts, after that point is when Nero came in ancient Rome and started to persecute the saints. When you look at the book of Revelation, by the time that was written, and I've gone into it before, by the time that was written, the Apostle Peter and Apostle Paul Apostle Paul was beheaded, and Apostle Peter was crucified upside down, pretty much at the order of Nero. And then obviously but then you have, John on the island of Patmos, who's kept alive in order to receive the Spirit, write the letters to the churches, and let them know of future things to come, which we're reading of today. And in the book of Revelation, there's no mention of, after the book of Acts, there's no mention of Apostle Peter or Apostle Paul being killed, and that's obviously because they're trying to keep the movement going, keep it alive, and so you don't want to dent people's faith by telling them that the main leaders have been killed. So, but this is what happened in that time. They were persecuted, and we're back here today. Acts 2.0 is pretty much done. The church has been built up, and the prophets have gone out there. They've spoken, and so now, like I keep saying, in the last 6 months, we're in a time now where, because the Most High is about to turn the world upside down, He has to open more of the viewpoint for us to be able to see what's really going on. The reason why we have to see this, the reason why we're repeating what we went through 2,000 years ago, to a certain degree, is because then it allows us to be ready for when it really goes down. And so you look at the events 2,000 years ago and you compare it to now. You say, well, the church has been raised up, the prophets have gone out there, everybody's had their say and fought against it. All these other Israelite camps, these Jews that are now situated in America, apart from Jerusalem, instead of Jerusalem, they've said their piece, but judgment's starting to come. Look at Al-Azhar. You had your run, you did your thing, you had your little battle against the true apostles, but then the Most High has moved you out the way because there's bigger things to deal with. Judgment begins at the house of Israel, and you're starting to see that, and then it's going to start to echo into the actual people, and then before you know it, that will move on to the other nations. And then so this is where, for example, myself, reason why I look at things in this particular way, I look at everything back then 2,000 years ago, compare it to now to see and use that, is because obviously the Holy Spirit has opened my eyes to do it. So I could even look in the book, look at myself and read about myself and say, okay, there I am. That's what I did. That's what I went through, and I'm going to do that next. And it's happening. The Most High is doing that. He did that to me 6 months ago, and now he's starting to do that with other people, other characters. And so you have Barabbas. You got the story. I'm not going to go into it. If you don't know, you can look it up. Barabbas. Um, it says here, therefore, this is Matthew 27 and 17. Therefore, when they were gathered together, Pilate said unto them, whom will ye that I release unto you? So he's got two men that he could, and he said he's going to release one of them. And one of them he's not going to release. It says Barabbas or Yahushai, which is called the Anointed. And it says, but the chief priests and elders persuaded, this is verse 20, Matthew 27 and 20, the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas to destroy Yahushai. So, you've got the story of Barabbas. Maybe we're starting to realize who Barabbas really is. You look up Sakari, ancient Sakari, they had a problem with Apostle Paul. They pretty much had a problem with Yahushai and the teachings. But you see, the events that happened 2,000 years ago, as much as they're repeating themselves, they can't repeat exactly, because Yahushua is not going on he's not going to be crucified twice. See, so certain people who got away with certain things 2,000 years ago, now we're in the time where you can't get away with it. The same setup happens. The Most High sets you up to come against the apostles the same way he did 2,000 years ago. But whereas 2,000 years ago, you may have gained a lot of success, in these times now, you're not going to gain success. And that's why the Most High is exposing you. So you've just had this. You've just had, in the last 3 weeks, building up to the Passover, you've had the situation with this character who could possibly be Barabbas. And then you've then got the Passover, which is tonight. The same, obviously Yahushua had the Passover and then he was crucified. On the same night, full moon, it was a blood moon, which is tonight. So this is exactly what happened 2,000 years ago. Just before all that, you see, you have the build up to it. You got to think Yahushua went on, was crucified, and he went to the Passover, and then everything that happened the next morning, and so on and so forth. And there was a whole build up of events. There was things that happened in, obviously with Pilate, so on and so forth. And so, like I say, it's not like a play for play. It's not, every conversation isn't exactly repeated in the same way, at the same time, at the same, we're not robots. But somehow we get around to the same scenario and the same conclusions that we did 2,000 years ago by the Most High, the angels setting us up in these scenarios. So, so you now you understand what I'm trying to get at. What you've watched play out in the last few weeks, and then have a Passover with a blood moon, is eerily similar and reminiscent of the situation that Yahushua went through 2,000 years ago. So you went through this situation where the people chose Barabbas. So ultimately, it's the people. Ultimately, it's Yahushua's own people that rejected him. So all that fuss. These Roman officials, they didn't really have an issue. with even with Apostle Paul at a certain point, they didn't really have an issue with him. But what it was is it's always the Israelites that are causing the problem. They're always hunting them down. They're always chasing them, exposing them, trying to get them in trouble. Um, they last time the favor for them was then up step to Nero 1.0, the original Nero. And when he came in, he did them a favor. He said, "Yeah, I'll persecute them for you," and the Jews were happy. They go, "Yeah, we got rid of them." But you see, like I keep saying, everything's repeating 2,000 years later, but it has to have a different result. So things have to be slightly different. And this time, these Nero 2.0s here, but this time it's not going to be the apostles that get persecuted. There may be the odd little problem here or there. Maybe someone will be beheaded. But all in all, this time Nero's coming to persecute the actual, not the ones that believe, but the ones that don't believe, because they're the 2/3, and they're the ones that judgment begins at the house of Israel. So everything's repeating itself, but you can't just kind of sit back and it's not like a movie you've seen before and you can just repeat the lines, because at the same time there's kind of little twists and it's slightly adapted. However, if your eyes are open, you can see the similarities, and that's why you see again this Passover is a is quite a heavy one, because obviously with the blood moon, we've just had this situation with possibly Sakari, possibly Barabbas. We don't know, but we got to look at things spiritually. If you're going to work it out, you're not going to work it out by thinking things in a carnal way. You've got to think in a spiritual way. Certain things, we're in a time where things are repeated. Nothing's new under the sun, but at the same time, we have to have a different result. So there is something new under the sun, but it's not. There's nothing new under the sun. What's not new under the sun is the way we operate. We're humans. We operate in a certain way. We get put in situations, and your spirit will push you to end up with a certain conclusion, depending on the spirit given to you by the Most High. You see, with what's his name, Alazar, the Pegatron, and all that. The Most High threw those demons at him to ask certain questions in his brain. The problem he had is the Most High gave him a weak spirit in the first place to fall to it. Now those same demons can come to other people and jump in your mind, but you could just fight it and reject it, and before you know it, them demons, they flee. They're not getting any joy. So Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is working, is a marvelous work. We haven't even started. There's still a lot to go. There's still major things to happen, major things that are going to shake up the world, make people's hearts stop instantly, so on and so forth. But if you've got that eye salve and your eyes are open right now, you can see. We keep saying Acts 2.0, Acts 2.0. It's getting deeper. It's getting deeper by the minute. And now is this possibly Barabbas entering the scene, or so on and so forth. But this time, he got judged, and tonight it's a full moon Passover with a blood moon. But Yahushua is not going, being crucified. So we have to keep our eyes open. We have to keep watching it. But again, see, how come we can see all this, all these details? We can see it, but nobody in the world has a fucking clue. Basically, not one person has a clue of what's going on. But we're able to look in the scriptures, see the details, and see it play out in front of us like a movie. You know how deep that is. You've read the script, and now you're in the scene, and you're seeing the characters. And it doesn't matter how much you point it out to them and tell them and explain it to them and try and clear their cloudy thoughts and their stupid crap that they say, they can't get it, because they're just characters who just play the part. So you can sit there and say, why is this and why is that and why is that, and people just don't get it. Why did you choose Barabbas? You chose it Barabbas because of this. You know what happens in this world, right? It's the more treacherous, the more treacherous things you do, the more success you have. The more you try to do things correctly and correct. Even if you don't know the truth, but you've got a certain amount of spirit in you. We did it before we came to the truth. You got a certain amount of spirit in you. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. You try to do the right thing, but the world doesn't allow you to do that. It will chew you up and spit you out. So then you have to learn. When I was in the world, I had to learn how to maneuver in the world according to how this world works. But really, ultimately, what this world is doing is promoting wickedness and it's rewarding it. So, for example, when I used to, in my 20s, I used to do a lot of hustling on the streets. And so, what it is, you making money and you're on the streets making money and you have all these products and people get to know you for these products. And then what happens is it comes with a certain reputation. And then, so then what happens is, first of all, you've got this phone line, and then you know loads of people. Then people start blowing off your phone because they always want this. There's always somebody that wants something. And then when these people have their conversations, they like to tell each other, yeah, yeah, I know him. I know this guy and I know that guy. I can ring him to get that and I can ring him to get that. So what happens is you become notorious but you're doing something like, you could be shotting on the streets, but you become notorious. Everybody knows you. And people will try to use your name as weight in their conversations, but all you're doing is just wicked stuff. You're not helping anybody. But so that's the thing with like Barabbas, that mindset. Like, yeah, he's one of us. Yeah, he's doing wicked stuff, but he's one of us. And you know, when you're doing stuff, like for example, when you're hustling on the street, it's almost like you're saying I'm against the system because I'm not working in the system. I'm not paying taxes. I'm not doing all that. I'm avoiding the police at all costs. So I'm against the system. And then because you're against the system, that's why they take you in, because they're against the system. They're the little people, and they take you in because the system crushes them too. And this is what it is. And that's why then the parents tell the young kids, no, don't follow their way. Just stick with the system. And the kids say, no, the system's hard. It crushes me. I could do what this guy's doing on the road and I can make money. And it's illegal, but I'll be driving a nice car. And the parents having to fight them out of it. See, the world's like that. It's designed for that. So you then now do the opposite. You pick up the scriptures, you start breaking it down, you try and help people, and then all of a sudden, because I told you the truth, I'm your enemy. Nobody wants to hear it. They chase you out of town. They'll choose Barabbas over you. That's what it comes down to. Is yin and yang. You got the yin and yang, black and white. We're waiting to get to the white side, if you like, where it's pure. But we're on the black side where we're devoid. Our people are devoid of light. But you're on the you got the yin and yang. Hang on, let me get it up. Yeah. Hang on. Yang and yang. Yeah, whatever. Yin and yang. So you got yin and yang, and this is like this is the kingdom that we're living in. Our people are devoid of light. The world's devoid of light, and this is the kingdom of heaven. And what it is, this is us. So you're fighting this every day, and that's why you're having to fight it. But we know we're very close to this. And when you get to this is why eventually, as much as we'll have them in captivity, this is why eventually you have to do Obadiah 1 and 18. Because this wouldn't be actually a kingdom of heaven with this little mark in the middle. But the minute you're here, as a Hebrew Israelite, you look looking on the road map, you're lost. You don't know what's going on. This place is big. Where am I? As a Hebrew Israelite in 2025, waiting on your Hawashai, you are here in this bit. But this, like I say, this is very close. And then Obadiah 1 and 18. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, this is, it's amazing, man. It's amazing. The Most High's got everybody doing the same thing, and then like this whole Barabbas thing, this Sakari, this Pega, it's come out just before the Passover, and then it's just too much, man. So what happens next? So what happens now? Like I said this before, a blood moon on the Passover, but however, somebody's getting effed up, but this time it's not going to be Hawashai. This time it's going to be somebody else. So even from today, obviously today's not the day of the Lord, but this could be the sign where all these certain events start happening. Last year we had the sun darkened, and then we had the introduction of Nero 2.0, and now we got the Passover, the blood moon, and we got the people choosing Barabbas. Just before the time when Yahushua went on the cross. So um, so then the other thing as well that's been going on at the minute as well. So this one with this brother here, GMS Godly Heritage, vision of angel of death in Israel and crowning. And so what it is, you like watch these videos of these people who have these dreams and these visions and whatever, and so basically, I'm not saying it in a bad way, like like I don't trust nobody, but first thing you do is you kind of like watch it to see if it's genuine. Usually if it's like a child, for example, it's going to be genuine because a child ain't really that well developed to pull off a 10-minute lie and blag it like that. So sit there, reciting all this information. But what it is, I'm not saying it like oh, I looked at the brother and he's suspicious, but what it is, when you hear the way he's speaking, he saw what he saw. He's describing certain things. It's almost like he hasn't actually processed all of the information, which he did say that. He said, oh, like certain things he's still trying to put into place. And you can tell by the way he's describing it. Now, I've said it before. I mean, what I believe that qualifies me to say that is because I've explained it before how I came to the truth. I came through, I had a vision, but I was awake. And I had the vision, and I was shown the earth and such, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. I was given a message. And then I saw an angel, and the angel left, and like, it went. And for a long time, I kept thinking, this angel, and I didn't know any scriptures, I didn't know anything. So how could I like pinpoint? How could I go to the scriptures and pinpoint it? But obviously what happens is over time you start, certain things, you obviously, for me, I had to learn scriptures, but at the same time you do sort of, as you learn certain things, you delve into that vision or that thing you saw, you delve into it more, you start realizing things like the brother said. He said later on he had the POV and he thought it was him chopping up the people, but then he realized it was the angel, the death angel. And then he realized that he was in the POV, or the point of view of the death angel, seeing what he's doing. And see, I kept doing this for ages. I kept saying, oh, that angel that came, and he showed me that, and he told me this, and he told me the Bible's for you. He told me the small hats are fake. He told me Hitler was right. He said the Bible's for you. Other stuff. And then what it is, you start to realize, and it starts to occur, and then the spirit starts to confirm it. And then you realize, oh, that angel was Yahushai. So, when he's like talking about how they're moving quick, this, that, and the other, this is what it is. So like I say, when I had the vision, I was shown something, I saw a moving image, And then I saw another image, then I saw the next image, and then I was told something, and then the angel goes over me, flies, passes over me. And then you realize, oh, that angel was Yahweh Shai. And that's what he did. He passed over me. And that's how I found out. Obviously, that I had to then went online, found basically somebody who's talking about fake small hats, and that's how I knew they were the people connected to that angel, Yahweh Shai. I didn't know his name, but I knew this something to do with the Most High. So, and I'm listening to this brother, and he's like saying the angel, this, that, and the other. And that angel is basically, so I'm just giving my opinion, but I bet my house on it that that angel is Yahweh Shai. He's saying I saw the POV of the death angel. The POV of the death angel is Yahweh Shai. He's the top death angel. So he's also, it says, look, the vision of angel of death in Israel and crowning. So, Yahweh Shai is Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. He's that number one angel. You got the Most High, but then you got his son, who's the second down, the first spirit created before other spirits. So really, it's when he's saying, oh, I saw the point of view of the angel of death. The angel of death is Yahweh Shai. You saw Yahweh Shai's point of view. And I don't know if like later on it might hit him in his mind. He might realize that, he might not realize that. But to me, when I hear what he's saying, and I'm very, very confident that that was Yahweh Shai. So you go to, for example, the book of Revelation. You've got Revelation chapter 1, and so you've, pretty much, I'm not going to go read the whole thing, but, you've pretty much got an introduction here, the revelation of Yahweh Shai, the anointed, which the Most High gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John, who bare record of the word of the Most High and the testimony of Yahweh Shai the Anointed, of all things that he saw. So, what then happens is there's a message to the churches. So, for example, John to the 7 churches which are in Asia, grace be unto you and peace from him which is, and which was, and which is to come, and from the 7 spirits which are before his throne, and from Yahweh Shai the anointed, who is the faithful witness, and the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood. And then it says, so jumping down, Revelation 1 and 9, the Patmos vision, it says, I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation and in the kingdom and patience of Yahweh Shai the anointed, was in the isle that is called Patmos, for the word of the Most High and for the testimony of Yahweh Shai the anointed. I was in the spirit on the Lord that day, and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet, saying, so I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, and what thou seest write in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, unto Smyrna, unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. So Obviously we know the book of Revelation, John receives these basically visions, these understanding, and basically the message is to the churches. So then, it goes on to, you jump into verse 2. And unto the angel of the church of Ephesus write these things, say that he that holdeth 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks, I know thy works, and thy labour, and thy patience, and how thou cannot bear them which are evil. And then the message goes to Smyrna, I know thy works. And then it goes to Pergamon, I know thy works. Message to Thyatira, I know thy works. So you get the idea, right? And so this is what this brother was talking about in his vision. He's seen the angel of death, which is Yahushua, and then he's seen the crowning. I know thy works. It's that same power which knows thy works of the 7 churches. Now, 2,000 years ago, the message went out to the 7 churches, basically, fix up, look sharp, or you're going to pay the price. You see, now, Acts 2.0, and we're pretty much getting to the end of this grace period. Acts 2.0 is finished. It's nearly finished. So Nero 2.0 is here. We just had a blood moon, and Barabbas is talking shit yet again. So what are we going to do now? See, you've now got this scenario where you can't go back out to the 7 churches, wherever they are, spread over in the uttermost parts of the earth, and give them yet another warning. How long is this going to go on for, these warnings? What, for another 1,000 years? Nah, this is the end of the warnings. So the warning ain't going to them anymore. The warning goes to, to the, what I mean is, to the, out of all the 7 churches, whoever you've got, you've got the Church of Berea, for example. Now, people like that, they get a warning. And their warning is, I'm done warning the other ones that didn't follow, that, not taking it properly. And now it's go time when it comes to judgment. So you see, the 2/3, they had their warning. You get their warning. You've been getting it for 2,000 years. You've had warnings. And then when their warnings stop, when the blood moon on the Passover, for example, that could be the moment when the warning stops. And then the warning goes to the ones that actually were diligent and paid attention. What do they need to be warned of? They need to be warned of the judgment is about to kick off. Step out the way. I'm about to do these people. I'm about to F them up. So, it's like you watch it in the movies or something, and then the man gets into a fight, and then he'll tell his wife, go and stand over there. I'm about to knock this guy out. And what it is, he wants her to step over there so you don't get caught by a swinging hand. So he'll say, yeah, take my coat, go and stand over there, go and stand by the car, I'm going to knock this guy out, and I'll be back in a minute. So they, the elect have to get the warning. Now we get the warning if we're of the hopeful elect, and the warning is we get shown what point in time we are. Look, you're at the end of this church thing. I'm about to basically, this time I brought Nero, but this time he's going to persecute you Israelites, but he's not going to persecute believers. He's going to persecute the non-believers. So we get the warning, and we get to see it. And then, so there's your message to the church. But this time you don't need to spread it to all these other churches, because they never listened anyway. This is a different message. This is a message of get ready. I'm about to do this thing. But it goes to the ones that paid attention, like the Church of Berea. So this is what this brother's doing. And he's telling you in the video, yeah, GMS, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. So, certain people, the angel knew when not to. The angel was Yahushua. He knew everybody. He knew everything. And that's how he knew what, which precise, he was just so spot on. Don't forget, I had the encounter with Yahushua. He came and told me the Bible was for me. And then I went online. I found people talking about fake small hats. Out of all the people that I found, in the 7 years that I've been doing that, I never found anyone that could actually break it down properly, apart from the people of GMS, the apostle elders of GMS, and all the people that teach like-minded. Anybody outside of that, you just don't match. What I saw in that encounter with Yahweh Shai, Sakari. First time I looked at them, I just dismissed them. First time I looked at IUIC, I dismissed them. ISUPK, just dismissed them. The first time I came across GMS, I had to pay attention. And the reason why I had to pay attention, because I said, nah, I heard Apostle Tahar, and I said, yeah. So I listened to him again the next day, because he does one every day. So the next day I did another one. And by the second one, I was thinking, nah, this guy. So the third day, I was like, and that's when I rang someone and I said, nah, I said, listen, don't watch any other people anymore. Just watch these people. Just watch this. That's it. That's all you need. And so, look, this guy's giving you the same message. What, like I keep saying, he says the angel. I saw the POV of the angel. You saw the POV of Yahweh Shai, the number one deaf angel, the top of top deaf angel, the top of top angel of angels. Whether it's, whatever aspect you want this angel to come in, it's Yahweh Shai. So he showed you, I'm coming to mess these people up. This is what I'm going to do. But he also showed you, I'm going to crown these people. And so there's a message to the church. And so, like I say, this thing's about to go down real soon, man. I mean, we can't give you a time, a day, time or hour, but Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai is about to make this go down. This is Revelation 14, starting from 14, thinking of the brother's dream. It says, and I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came from out the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle. So the second angel comes and tells the first angel, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. So you got an angel sitting on a cloud with a sharp sickle waiting for the call, and then another angel comes and says, basically, now's the time, thrust in thy sickle. And so the first angel is Yahweh Shai, but they described him as an angel, but it's Yahweh Shai. And this is what the brother was doing. He's going, well, I saw the POV of the angel, and the angel was Yahweh Shai. I did it myself. The angel came to me where I stood on my feet, and he came and showed himself to me. And that angel, and for ages I kept thinking, this angel, there's something different about this. This angel was Yahweh Shai, moving like predator. And then so that's what I'm trying to tell you. You're seeing the POV of the angel who's sitting on the cloud, once sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown. And he's the one that's able to give out the crowns that he goes into in the vision. And in his head, a sharp sickle, because he's chopping people. Another angel, that's the POV you saw of him chopping people. It says, and another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time has come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he said, and he that sat on the cloud thrust in thy sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the altar which had the power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. So then the angel thrust in the sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of the Most High. And the winepress was trodden without the city. That's the same city when the brother was talking about the angel knew he was about to hit, came to like a brother of the elect, so he left it, and then he moves on to the next person who wasn't of the elect, and he chopped him. It says, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horses' bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. That POV of that angel was Yahweh Shai. You know, when you go back to the blood moon, you type in blood moon, obviously that's where the lesson began. Today, obviously, I read Joel 2 and 31, Acts 2 and 20, but then you got Revelation 6 and 12. And it says, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. And that earthquake represents the nuclear ICBMs. You know, it's going to hit America, but it's going to make the whole earth shake. And the land is going to break, and land is going to move around. So you're going to end up with a new map. Come the kingdom of heaven. It says, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. So that's another one. That's you got your blood moon. It says, and the stars of heaven fell unto earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it was rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of her places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. You know, they call them these bunkers, these deep military underground bases, dumps, where these officials are going to try hide during this Third World War. It says, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. It says, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? And that's what's coming. It's coming real soon. And this is what his brother's going into. This death angel is you know he's waiting to be let on the, you know, he's going to be on the loose. You know, he's waiting, and you see the other angel comes and tells him, "Now, thrust in thy sickle," and that's Yahushua giving him the time. You know, there's two separate entities, the Most High and His Son. Nobody knows the day, the time, or the hour when the destruction or the deliverance will take place, apart from the Most High. He will give that command, but when He gives that command, you know, he's Yahushua is just going to be let loose, and that's what it's showing. So he's the top death angel, coming to bring death to a person near you, you know, very soon. So, you know, in the great time of judgment. So we're getting there. We're getting close. I mean, we're just waiting for this MOTB. And when that happens, it will only be a matter of weeks from the destruction. The MOTB is a matter of months away. We've got 6 or 12, could be 18, you know, but I don't believe it'll be much more than that. The fact that we've got this Passover with the blood moon, you know, we just had Barabbas. The people just chose Barabbas, and now we've got a Passover with a blood moon. We just finished Acts 2.0, and you know, enter the scene Nero 2.0. You know, the things are moving fast, and yet everything I just told you, you know, the majority of the world have no clue. So I hope that's edifying. I'm going to leave it right there. Until next time, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakak, Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.